नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य षष्ठी स्थाने योगा तस्मिन् इति निर्दिष्टे पूर्वस्य तस्माद् इत्युत्तरस्य इति त्रीणि सूत्राणि अभ्यासं कुर्मः। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। येन दौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। अज्ञानान्दस्य लोकस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। We use षष्ठी, pratama and saptami and panchami, these vibhaktis in sutras. Whenever we use those vibhaktis in sutras, they mean differently from what they mean in the language. So these three sutras tell about that. Let us consider the first one, Shashti Sthane Yoga. Padachedah Shashti Sthane Yogah. Kshamitam, Sthane Yoga. No sandhi between Shashti and Sthane Yoga. Padacheda, Shashti, Sthane Yoga. Both are in Pratama Ekavachana. It means the meaning of the sutra. Whenever there is a Shashti word in a sutra, it represents the Sthani. So whatever the action is being told is happen on that word. Shashti Sthane Yoga. For example, let us consider Iko Yenachi. Iko Yen Achi 6177. Padacheda. Ikaha Yen Achi. In this sutra, the word Ikaha is in Shashti. Yen is in Pratama and Achi is in Saptami. Whenever there is a word in Shashti, it represents the Sthani. It means that letter undergoes change. Sthani. So ik is the Sthaniya, so it undergoes the change, is the meaning. Shashti Sthani Yoga. Let us consider one example. Iti plus Uttarasya. Here, the last letter in the first word is E. The first letter in the second word is U. So, this should be ik letter for Iko Enachi to be applied. So, E is a ik letter and the second letter should be an H letter. U is an H letter. So, this sutra is applicable Iko Enachi. So, by Iko Enachi, E will be pronounced as Yakara, E. So, in presence of an H letter, this is the meaning of the Iko Enachi. E becomes E. So, Iti Uttarasya becomes Ityuttarasya. Ityuttarasya. Consider counter example. Gruhat Uttarasya. Here, the last letter of the first word is Takara, which is not a it letter. So, Iko Enachi is not applicable because this is not an ik letter. So, even though there is an H letter after that, since the Sthani is not ik letter, the sutra is not applicable. So, Gruhat Uttarasya, here Iko Enachi is not applicable. It becomes Gruhad Ittarasya. There will not be any Yen Adeshaha. Let us consider one more example. Jalam Jashi. Jalam is in Shashti. Jalam is in Shashti. Jash is in Pratama. and Jashi is in Saptami. Jalam is the Shashti Bahuvachana of Jal. Jash is the Pratama Ekavachana of Jash. Jashi is the Saptami Ekavachana of Jash. So Jal means Jhabai, from there up to Hal. So it includes all the Varga Pratama, Varga Dvitiya, Varga Tritiya, Varga Chaturtha, and Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha. Totally 20 plus 4, 24 letters. Jal, it excludes Yara Lava and all Anunasika, Varga Panchamaha. Those 9 plus 4, 9 plus 4, Kshamitam, 4 plus 5, 4 plus 5, 9. 9 letters are excluded. Out of 33 consonants, 24 are covered in Jal. So Anunasika and Yaralava, end letters, are not covered. Jash means Varga Tritiya, Jabagada Dash, Jabagadada, or Jash letter. Jashi, from Jakara, from Jha in Maheshwara Sutra, Jhabai Gadadash, Jabagadadash. So Jash means Varga Tritiya and Varga Chaturtha, the third and fourth letter of each Varga. So the meaning of the sutra is if a gel letter is followed by Jash letter, then gel letter will be replaced by respective Jash letter. This is the meaning of the sutra. If a gel letter, gel is in Shashti, so Jash is in Saptami. Jash is the Adesha, so Adesha will be in Pratama. So if a gel letter is followed by a Jash letter, then Jash letter will be substituted in place of gel letter. So the first, second, third, fourth, all are replaced by the third of the same Varga if they are followed by any third or fourth letter of any Varga. Consider this example, Jagat Hita. Here the last letter is a gel letter because it is Varga Pratama, it is a gel letter. And the second one is Ha, it is also a Jash letter. Jalam, Jash, Jashi. Is this Jashi? No. Jalam, Jash, Jashi. No, no, no. I is not. Okay. I is not a Jash letter since it is not Varga Tritiyar, Varga Chaturtha. So this is not a right example. But this sutra is not applicable, but this change happens by some other sutra. For this sutra, we can take Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. Here, Takara is a gel letter and Gakara is a Varga Tritiya. Varga Tritiya or Chaturtha can come here. So this sutra is applicable, Jalam Jashi. By that, Takara will be replaced by respective Jash letter. The respective Jash letter of the Tavarga is Dakara. So Takara will become Dakara, Bhagavad Gita. This was a wrong example for this sutra, but the whatever the change that has happened here is correct, but by some other sutra. Okay, Bhagavad Gita. If you take counter example, Sarva plus Hita, here the first letter is A and the second letter is, again, this is not a right example since I have taken I have taken this as counter example. Suppose let us take Gita here. Gita, Sarva plus Gita. Here, the second one is just letter, but the first one is not a gel letter. So this sutra is not applicable. Sarva Gita. Um, okay, this is about Jalam just Jashi. Here, since Jal is expressed in Shashti, it represents the Sthani. It represents the place where the change happens. Takara becomes Takara, or Jal letter become just letter Jashi Pare. The third example is Nascha Padantasya Jali. Nascha Padantasya Jali. It means Nakara, which is not at the end of a pada. It should not be at the end of the pada. That Nakara, Jal Pare, Jali Pare, means if it is followed by a Jal letter, it gets converted into Anuswara. Anuswara comes as Anurutti from the previous sutra, Monuswaraha. So, here you see, Kapi is a dhatu. In Aupadeshika form, it has Ikara as it letter. Is it letter. Kapi is the Aupadeshika form. The dhatus which have Ikara as it letter, they get Numagama. That Nakara comes here before the last or after the last vowel. So it becomes Kanp. That Ikara, Anunasika Ikara gets deleted since it is it letter. And Numagama will be there. Now this nakara is not at the end of a pada, so it is apadantasya nakara, and pakara is a jal letter. So at this stage, nakara undergoes anuswaradesha. Later this again gets parasavarnadesha, and this anuswara will become makara by anunasikasya yayi parasavarna. But this sutra we were discussing right now applies here. Nakara, which is not at the end of a pada. Kan is not a pada. I have just split to show the letters differently. Nakara, when it is followed by a gel letter, pakara is a gel letter. So nakara gets converted into anuswara is the meaning of this nascha padantasya jali. If you take counter example, let us take jelpa. In Upadeshika Swarupa, Raswakara is it and it gets deleted. Since Ikara is not an itiyar, there will not be any Numagama. So there is no Nakara here. There is Lakara instead before Pa. So only Nakara gets Anuswaradesha Jali Pare when followed by Jal letter. Even though there is Jal letter here, all letters will not be converted into Anuswara. So Nascha Padantasya Jali is not applicable here. Similarly, if there is Nakara but there is no Jal letter here, then also that Anuswaradesha will not happen. This is about Shashti Sthane Yoga. Shashti Sthane Yoga. By this sutra, the word which is represented by Shashti in a sutra represent Sthani. The next sutra is Tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya. Tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya 1166. Tasmin saptami ekavachana of tad pratipadikam. Tad iti savyayam nirdishte saptami ekavachana purvasya shashti ekavachana. Tasmin represents saptami. To denote saptami vibhakti, the word tasmin is used in this sutra. So if there is a word which is represented by Saptami Vibhakti in a sutra, it indicates that the action, that the karya happens before before that word, and the entity which is present just before that. There should not be any gap between those two. For example, let us consider the same example: eco energy. E plus h is equal to n plus h. Eq letter will be converted to n when followed by h letters. So here achi is in saptami. Tasmin represents saptami. So achi is in saptami. What does it means? The karya will happen on the entity which is present just before the touch letter. So H letter is here. What is there just before that? Ik is there. So the action will happen on ik is the meaning of the sutra, and it also means this is necessary for this action to be happened. Without this, there will not be action which is indicated by that sutra. So it is called as paranimitta. It is present after the sthani, so it is called as paranimitta, which is represented by saptami. So it's same example, iti uttarasya ityuttarasya. Here ukara is there, which is represented by saptami. So the action, it tells being represented by saptami, it indicates that the action happens on the entity which is present just before u, that is e. E gets converted into ya. It is not the u because it is not in shashti. It is in saptami. So tasmin iti nirdishte. If it is indicated as in saptami, indicated by saptami, then purvasya varnasya or purvasya avayavasya karyam bhavati. If you consider a count example for this, iti purvasya, iti plus purvasya, here ik letter is there, but there is no h letter. P is not an h letter. So this is also required for yakarasya yanadeshaha. For ikarasya yanadeshaha. For the change of e to yakara, this h letter, the presence of h letter is also important. Since there is no h letter here, this sutra is not applicable, and e cannot be converted into e yakara. Let us consider the same sutra jalam jashi, and again the wrong example. I'll take the same example which I quoted there, Bhagavad Gita, this one. Bhagavad Gita. Here takara is there, which is a gel letter. Jalam is a gel letter, and gakara is there, which is a just letter. So since there is a gel letter followed by just letter, this gel letter will be converted into just letter. Bhagavad Gita. So if there is no gel letter here, as we seen in, sorry, if there is no just letter here, as we seen in Jagat Gita, that hakara is not a just letter, there will not be Jash Adesha by this sutra. There may be Jash Adesha by some other sutra, but not by this sutra. So it is Bhagavad plus Gita, Bhagavad Gita. If you take some counter example, Tat Kalasya. Here there is a Jhal letter, but there is no Jhash letter after that. It is not Varga Trutiya or Varga Chaturtha. So this sutra is not applicable. Tat Kalasya, it becomes Tat Kalasya only. taparastatkalasya. In that sutra we find this. If you take the Nashja Padantasya Jali, this again the same sutra. In Kapi, since there is Jal letter here, Nakara gets converted into Anuswara. If you take the Dhatu Imi, here also there is It letter, Ikara is It letter. So there will be Numagama here also. Nakara is here. But this Nakara will not be converted into Anuswara since there is no Jal letter here. Jali, it is in Saptami. So there is no Jal letter here. So due to the absence of Jal letter, Nakara cannot be converted into Anuswara. Okay. This is about Tasminniti Nirdishte Purvasya. Whenever a word is represented by Saptami in a sutra, it indicates that the action, that the karya will happen on the entity which is present just before that word. Next, Tasmad ityuttarasya, the third sutra. Tasmad iti uttarasya. Tasmad iti uttarasya. Tasmad iti uttarasya. Tasmat is in Panchami. It is in Panchami. Iti is in Avyayam. Uttarasya is in Shashti. Tasmaditi uttarasya. This is the example I gave for iko yanachi. Iti plus uttarasya, ityuttarasya, ikarasya yanadeshaha. So by this sutra, if a word is represented by Panchami Vibhakti in a sutra, then it indicates that the karya happens on the entity which is present just after that word. So it is Purva Nimitta. It should be present before this Tani. Consider this example. Jayo Honyatarasyam 8462. Let us consider only this part. Let us not discuss about this part. Jagad plus Hita. Jagad plus Hita from here. The meaning of this sutra is Jayaha. Jayaha is in Panchami. It is in Panchami. Panchami of Jai. From Jhabai Gadadash, Jabagadash, Kapachatata, Chatatav, Kapai up to there. It does not include Shashasar Ha. It excludes Shashasa Ha also. Jai means only Varga Pratama, Varga Dvitiya, Varga Tritiya, and Varga Chaturtha. So it is Panchami. So if a letter or if a word is followed by any, if a letter is followed by any Varga Pratama or Varga Dvitiya or Varga Tritiya or Varga Chaturtha, then if by this sutra, if it is not, it is not any word, Honyatarasyam is there. Ho is the, it is ha plus Anyatarasyam. If we do Padacheda, it becomes aha plus Anyatarasyam. Aha is the Shashti Ekavachana of ha, Hakara. So here Sthani is ha, means Hakara. So if Hakara is followed, if Hakara is succeeded by, preceded by any Jai letter, Varga Pratama, Varga Dvitiya, or Varga Tritiya, Varga Chaturtha, then this Hakara will be replaced by respective Parasavarna. It means the fourth letter of that Varga. The fourth letter of the Varga in which this letter present. Okay. Jayo Honyatarasyam by this sutra, if there is Varga Pratama, or if there is a Jai letter before Hakara, that Hakara will be replaced by Varga Chaturtha of the respective Jai letter. So here Dari means as it is, there will not be any change. It is not the Sthani, but this Hakara will be replaced by Dhakara. If it is Kakara here, then Hakara will be replaced by Ghakara, like that. For example, Vak plus Jhari, Vag, Vag, Mahaprana Gakara, Vag Jhari, like that. You see here, the nimitta for Akara to Dhakara is this Dakara, which is present before this Thani. So that will be represented by Panchami, is the meaning of this sutra, Tasmad Ityuttarasya. So if there is no Jai letter here, Akara cannot be converted into respective Parasavarna. If there is no Hakara here after this J letter, then also there will not be Parasavarna Adesha. This is the counter example. Sarva plus Hita. Here in Sarva there is no J letter here. It is Akara. It is not a J letter. So Hakara cannot be converted into any Parasavarna. Parasavarna Adesha is not possible here. So Sarva plus Hita, it remains a Sarva Hita only. Okay. Let us take the next example. Atom 7124. Ataha is the padacheda. Swamoho comes as anurutti from the previous sutra. Swamor napumsakat. So this sutra is applicable for napumsakalinga words. By this sutra, rasvakaranta words, for rasvakaranta words, su and pratyayas, Pratama Ekavachana and Dvitiya Ekavachana Pratyayas are replaced by Ataha If there is a word which ends with Rasvakara and is followed by Su, then this Su will be replaced by If there is a word which ends with Rasvakara and it is followed by Pratyaya, again this Pratyaya will be replaced by So why again replaced by Because the previous sutra dictates the deletion of both in case of all Napumsakalinga words, except for Rasvakara, Su and Pratama and Dvitiya Ekavachana Pratyayas, they will be deleted in case of Napumsakalinga words. So only exception is At. So Atom, Ataha, Panchami Ekavachana At. At means by Takara, it represents only Rasvakara. It doesn't represent all its Savarna. By Taparastatkalasya. Is the Adesha. Adesha for what? Swamoho, Su, and it is the Vivachana of Su and Su plus Swam. By it is Enadesha again, Iko Enachi. Swamoho is the Shashti Dvivachana of Su and So Su Pratyaya and Pratyaya, when followed by Rasva Akaranta words, they get converted into is the meaning of this sutra. So Pala plus Pala plus Su, yes, Su is followed by Rasvakara. In La, the last letter is Rasvakara. So this Su gets converted into and the final form is Palam. Similarly, Pala plus again the will be replaced by The final form is Palam. So the forms will be same in both Pratama Ekavachana and Dvitiya Ekavachana for all Rasva, Akaranta, Napumsakalinga words. And for all Napumsakalinga words also, it's true. Let us consider some counter examples. Pala plus how. Here, the Pratyaya is followed by Rasvakara, but the pratyaya is not neither su nor Thus, that sutra is applicable only for su and Since it is not one of them, then this how cannot be replaced by so it remains as it is. A plus au is equal to how by Ruddirechi, and the form is palau. Let us consider some more counter examples where the su and are not followed by rasvakara. For example, vari, here the last letter is e. In lagu, sanyoge guru, rasvam lagu, there lagu, the last letter is o. In chalat, the last letter is t. So su and pratyayas are not followed by rasvakara in all these cases. So they get deleted. So the forms will be vari, lagu, chalat, like that only. So if you find any rasva ukaranta, rasva ikaranta words in the language without that visarga there, varihi, laguhu, like that, then we can consider them as napumsakalinga words. So here ataha is represented in panchami. So panchami means the action happens after the next entity. The next entity is su. So su gets replaced by One more example, Ato Bhisa Hais 719. Ataha is in Panchami. Ataha is in Panchami. So after again it is the Panchami Ekavachana of At which represent Rasvakara. So the action happens on the next entity after Rasvakara by Ataha. Bisaha is the Shashti Ekavachana of Bis Pratyaya. So it is in Shashti, so it is the Sthani, the action, the change happens in place of bis. Ais is the Pratama, so the change is the Ais. So bis will be replaced by Ais when it is preceded by Rasvakara. So consider Rama plus bis, Tritiya Bahuvachana of Rama. Here the last letter is A, so this bis gets converted into Ais. So Rama plus Ais is equal to Ramais. A plus this A plus I, they become I by Rudirechi, Rudisandhi, and that Visarga at the end will be replaced by Kshamyatam. The Sakara at the end of the Ramais will be replaced by, or it becomes Visarga. Ramaihe. Similarly, Rama plus Bis. Rama plus bis. Here the last letter is dirgha. It is not rasvaha. So this change will not be happen. Bis to Ais. So the final form is Rama plus bis, Rama bihi. That sakarasya visargadesha. There will not be Aisadesha since there is no rasvakara here. And counter example, one more counter example, that A is there, but the pratyaya is not bis. If the pratyaya is not bis, any pratyaya after A cannot be converted into Hais. So there will not be Haisadesha. So it becomes Ramav only. So by Tasmad Ityuttarasya, if a word is represented in Panchami, it indicates the action happens on the next entity, but this word, the word which is represented by Panchami is required, but the action happens on the next entity. Uttarasya means after that. So this is about these three sutras and about three vibhaktis that are commonly used in sutras: Shashti, Saptami and Panchami. Shashti Sthani Yoga by this. Shashti represents Sthani. Tasminniti Nirdishte Purvasya by this. Tasmin Panchami, Saptami represents Paranimitta. And Tasmad Ityuttarasya Panchami. By this, Panchami represents Purvanimitta. Purvanimitta means the action happens on the next entity. Paranimitta means the action happens before the entity. Shashti Sthani. Sthani means the action happens on the same entity. Okay, this is about today. If you have any doubts, you can ask.